masjid, the imam says something you don't like, or does something you don't like. Maybe like what I'm saying today. So then now you decide that when you're passing by the sadaqah box, you can't give it anything. Or when the imam stands up front or somebody stands up front, I ain't giving them anything. I don't know what they do with the money. Brothers and sisters, I want to narrate in Surah An-Nur, which is chapter 24, verse 22. There was a verse that was revealed that deals specifically with this. Specifically with this. Now in this case, we don't know what the leadership is doing with the money. We have suspicions, so we do what? I'm not going to give anything more to this organization because I don't know what they're going to do with it. I am not saying that you need to be irresponsible, but we need to check our intentions. Many of us heard of the story of Aisha radiallahu anha. We heard of the story of Aisha. She was on an expedition with the Prophet. She got left behind. Then one of the companions saw her, a young, nice, handsome companion saw her, and then what happened? He led her out of the desert, and they came to the city. When they came to the city, the people saw them coming with this young, handsome companion. Now Aisha was a beautiful wife, was a young, beautiful wife of the Prophet. So what did the fitnanigans do? They started their fitna. Look at Aisha, coming with this young, handsome Sahaba. So they started this fitna. Now this thing was a big thing for the Prophet. He had no idea how to deal with it. He had companions whispering in his ear, you need to divorce her, you need to leave her, this is not good for you. And then you had other companions saying, ease, be patient. And the Prophet ﷺ was just waiting. And the Prophet ﷺ was just waiting for revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now what happened? The person's name was Mr. And he was another person who let her out, but one of the people who went around spreading the rumors about Aisha, his name was Mr. And he was a relative of Abu Bakr Siddiq, who was the first caliph after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. And what happened? Abu Bakr, when he saw Mr. participating in the slander, now Abu Bakr we know that Abu Bakr was a generous person. Abu Bakr would support Mr. out of his wealth. He would give anything, he would give him anything he wanted. Once he realized that this person was slandering the reputation of Aisha, what did he say? I remember this was also his daughter, right? What did he say? By Allah, I am not going to give them anything else. So this is someone who was clearly involved in slander. This is someone who was clearly involved in a wrongdoing. This is someone who clearly violated the rights of the Prophet's wife. So the wrongdoing was clear. And for many of us, we would say, all right, he was wrong, we are not going to do anything. But look at what Allah said in An-Nur, verse 22. Hence, even if, and this is important, hence, even if something wrong has been done to you, let not those who have been graced with Allah's favor or Allah's mercy and ease of life become remiss in helping their near of kin. Let not those who have been given the bounty be remiss or fall short of helping their near of kin. And the needy and those who have forsaken the domain of evil for the sake of God, for the sake of Allah. But let them do what? Let them pardon and forbear. Let them pardon, meaning forgive, and bear with patience. Do you not desire that Allah should forgive you for your sins, seeing that Allah is all forgiving, the dispenser of grace? So here we have a companion, Abu Bakr Siddiq, one of the most righteous ones, promised Jannah, saying that he's not going to give charity to his kin because the kin slandered the wife and the reputation of the Prophet Muhammad and Aisha. And here Allah is correcting that, saying, we have given you ample means. Do not let his wrongdoing stop you from doing what you are supposed to do. Back to the example of the masjid. You didn't see your imam doing drugs. You didn't see your imam buying alcohol. You didn't see your imam throwing parties in the musalla. All you have is, I don't know what happened. And based on that, you have decided to withhold what you think is your wealth. What is wrong with our understanding of our religion? When we complicate the processes in Islam, we throw our deen off balance. We are encouraged to give. Simple. When we start adding our own flavor into the mix, we lose sight of what this Islam is all about. At a Regent Majlis meeting, a brother from West Africa reminded us of a very simple truth, a very, very simple truth. However, it was rather profound. He reminded us that this is a very simple religion. It is so simple that an uneducated Bedouin can practice the religion and practice it with a firm fear of Allah in his heart. We in America and our generation, we have been identified as some of the wealthiest and some of the most educated generations that America has seen. If this religion is simple enough for uneducated Bedouins to practice this religion to the point that it transformed an entire peninsula, what are we lacking when we have the resources and the education? What are we missing in this Islam that is preventing us from transforming? Let's say if you look at America, from transforming West Philadelphia, North Philadelphia, the block we live on. What is preventing us from doing that when we have the resources? There has to be something we are missing when we complicate our religion. We lose the blessings of the success. I have two more and then we break for the first half. Sometimes we fear making the wrong decision. We hear of a sister being abused. We hear of kids being abused. And we say, you know what? I don't want to be the one to speak about anybody's business. We know that they're being abused. We know it, but we say, you know, she's a grown woman. If she wants to get out, she can get out. So you find all of the reasons. All the kids, they're their parents. They can do what they want to their kids. We find all of the reasons not to act on something we know is clearly wrong. And when I say act, I don't mean you storm the person's house and you try, maybe even telling someone who you think might be able to help. But how do we know that someone is being oppressed and abused and turn our backs on that and sleep well at night? How does that not bother us or keep us up? Something has to be wrong with that process. where we justify or validate our inaction. We have to remember that sometimes this is just a trick of the shaitan. If someone asks us to answer a question, many times we have an answer. We read one book, the Halal and Haram in Islam, and now we know everything about Halal and Haram in Islam. So somebody asks the question, is this permissible? No, it's not. Is this permissible? Yes, it is. All from that one book that we read. So we are very quick to say what is right and wrong.
2-minute warning.
We are very quick to say what is right and wrong. But when it comes to rectifying something or acting against something that is clearly wrong, but it would involve us stepping out of our comfort zone, what do? We pause. Very different from the Prophet ﷺ and the great scholars. Even the Prophet, peace be upon him, at times when he would be asked things, he would not answer immediately. What would he do? He would hold his tongue until he got wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He would hold until he got something from Allah. The great scholars of the four madahib, they were very well known for saying, I don't know about an issue, before they said, this is the answer. But when it came to helping, right there. The Prophet, there. The Sahaba, there. Us, opposite. When it comes to speaking about right and wrong, we are right there. Quick to give an answer. When it comes to helping, we're in the back row. This cannot be our Islam. This cannot be our Islam. Not if we say that we want to be the successful ones. I'll give one more scenario and then we'll break. And this one is a bit personal, very personal actually, and very recent. Sometimes we complicate things by missing the intention or confusing the intention. So let me tell you what happened. Generally, I take the trolley and the subway to work. When I take the trolley at a certain hour, very often I see there's a sister who comes on the trolley with 3 kids. Maybe 2, 1, and a baby.
Announced new actions my administration will
someone comes in with a baby and
policy to make it more fair, more efficient.
Someone comes in with
specifically
young
people,
with 3 kids. And sometimes she's coming on and she's struggling.
These are young people.
So I'm looking at this and I am telling myself, this cannot work well. I'm looking at this and I'm telling myself that this cannot work well. There has to be something wrong with that process. And I'm sorry, when you are the technology person and also the one giving the khutbah, you have to address certain problems that come up. There has to be something wrong with this. So what happened was, I see this is a come on, I see it. Sometimes I look at her and she's struggling with the kids. She's speaking to the kids in a harsh way, and it's just very disheartening. It's very disheartening. So yesterday, I see some kids running on the trolley. I don't see a parent behind them. But after a couple of seconds, I see someone come on the trolley. I did not recognize who it was. When I finally recognized who it was the same sister. Now, I'd never given a salam before. We never really we were never close to each other to give salam, but I just observed. It was the same sister, but this time she was dressed just like any regular person in society. All right? She was dressed like any regular person in society. Very different from how she had been seen before. So when I saw this, I said, you know what? Many people who see this, what might they do? The first thing they're going to do is say, you see these Muslims? This is what these Muslims do. 1 minute they're in, the next minute they're out. Now I'm also thinking of my khutbah for today. So I'm telling myself I'm going to speak about that. I'm going to speak about what we owe to each other when we see each other going through difficulties. And I asked myself, what is the first thing that we should do? Make a dua. You see someone in difficulty, you make a dua for them. Very simple, very easy. So, and this is not me narrating what I did, but I just want to show you the thought process I went through and how I complicated the process and what happened in the end. So bear with me. So I sat there, I made a dua. The dua I made for the sister, whatever it was. Then what happened after that was, I said, okay, so what else will I tell the people from the member? Apart from making dua, what can you do? Because I said earlier on, we need to step out of our comfort zone. I have no idea what the sister's condition is. I look in my bag, I said, okay, you know what? If I find my checkbook, I'll write a check and I'll just give it to her as I'm heading out. Did not have my checkbook. I said, okay, if I have a business card, I'll block off my personal information, write the masjid's number at the back of it, give it to her when I'm leaving. Did not have a business card. I am not making this up. I'm now about 2 steps away from where I need to get up at 15th Street. I look into my bag, I rip out a piece of paper, and I write on it, Assalamu alaikum. May Allah alleviate any burden. May Allah alleviate your burdens, Ameen, and may He enable us all to appreciate this blessing of Islam, Ameen. And I put the masjid's number on it. My apologies, Imam Anas. And I put the masjid number on it. And then in my haste, what did I do? I put slash, and for whatever reason, not thinking, I put my cell phone number on it. This was around 8 o'clock in the morning. As I'm playing it back in my head, I see all of the mistakes I made. At 1 o'clock, my phone rings from an unknown number. Who is this? Who are you looking for? Who is this? No, it's a man's voice. Who is this? Who are you looking for? Is this an organization? Is this a business? No. Well, I don't know who you are. But someone left a note on my wife's shoulder. Stay away from my wife, yada, yada, yada. He said some choice words. End of conversation. And the choice words he said were very specific choice words. So naturally, this thing bothered me all night and into this morning. Because in my mind, I did the best thing, the right thing. But remember what I started off this point with, confusing intentions. Up to the point that I was making the dua, I think I was going okay. When I asked myself, what else can I say to the congregation from the member so that I can push them to do something more, I think that's when I started to lose the point of why I was concerned about her condition. I started to think that I was the one who could move somebody closer. I started to think that I had to say the right words to fix this situation. I forgot that Allah is the one who does what? Turns the hearts of people. So sometimes it could be that we are doing the right thing, and I don't know, this is just my supposition. Sometimes it could be that we are doing the right thing, and we're not conscious of when our intention flips on its head. And then what may have started off as a good thing becomes a problematic thing. So now what have I caused? I have upset someone's day. I have caused someone to use foul language against me. I have done all of these things. And some of it, whatever is on them is on them. I'm looking at what is on me. So now I need to find a way to rectify that. So if you hear this story being narrated by someone else who might have been the victim, express my apologies. So sister, brother, if I offended you or violated you, my sincerest apologies. This was nowhere near my intention. Maybe if I wasn't in a hurry to fix the situation, I might have used different wording. If you need any assistance, contact Kuba Institute at very different. From, may Allah help us all be gracious or grateful for our blessings. We are not the ones who change hearts. We need to keep that in mind as we move forward. So brothers and sisters, I've spent some time speaking about how we can complicate this deen of Allah. We can complicate this religion of Allah that causes us to lose sight and lose focus of what we're supposed to do and what we can do to make a difference in people's lives. I pray that this last story that I narrated does not prevent anyone from doing good deeds or causes them to overthink when they're about to do a good deed. My problem was that I may have overthought the process. I forgot the simple truth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who changes people's conditions. Had I held on to that, I may have made better decisions throughout the process. So let us be actively aware that Allah is the one who's in charge and that Allah is the one who continues to shower His blessings upon us even though we don't deserve it. Brothers and sisters, the sad reality is that many of us are ungrateful. We receive more benefit than we do or more blessing than we deserve, and we do not receive the amount of punishment that we actually deserve for the wrong that we commit in our lives and against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala soften our heart, increase us in gratitude, and forgive us our sins. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Brothers and sisters, we cannot continue to complicate this message and this deen that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. For some of us, we have focused so exclusively on knowledge that we've lost the spirituality or the tasawwuf behind our religion. We have to find a way to re-inject spirituality into our faith. Knowledge without spirituality is going to lead us astray. It's going to be useless. Knowledge is a good thing, but if it's not tempered by spirituality, it will cause us to complicate this religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what should we do? Our quick action plan. We need to be generous in all that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Our time, our wealth, our patience, whatever it is Allah has given us. We need to be generous in it. We can't hold back if we want to achieve the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot fear that we will lose if we are giving good deeds or if we are doing good. Because if we fear that we will lose, it means that we do not believe the promise of Allah that says, never will your charity be reduced, or never will your wealth be reduced by you giving charity. We have to remember that. We need to make sincere dua to Allah that our hearts are softened and our hearts are grateful hearts. One dua that we can make, O Allah, I ask you for a grateful heart. O Allah, I ask you for a grateful heart. O Allah, I ask you for a grateful heart. The Prophet told Mu'adh, who was a companion, that he should say at the end of each salah, O Allah, help me to remember you and give thanks to you and worship you well. Let us try to make this same dua for ourselves, so perchance our hearts grow closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to increase our acts of goodness, whatever it is, even the small ones. Increase it and be consistent in it. This will bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This will help us not complicate the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to reconnect with the Quran. We are about 5 weeks away from the month of Ramadan, the month of the Quran. Let us not wait until Ramadan to start reconnecting with it. Start reconnecting with it now. If we train ourselves now, it will be easier to do in Ramadan. If we wait until Ramadan, it's like a runner who has never trained before and he goes onto the track to try to run a mile. He will burn out before he makes it. Like many of us burn out in Ramadan before we make it. Try to train ourselves now so that when Ramadan comes, we can maximize the blessings in Ramadan. Let us try to cultivate patience. We need to develop hope. We need to continue to do good deeds. We need to watch our words, and we need to watch our actions. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever trains himself to be patient, Allah will help him to be patient. So if we are not training ourselves to be patient, meaning when our patience is tested, we try to fight it. If we are not training ourselves to be patient, then when we need to be patient, it would be very difficult for us to be patient. We have to actively train ourselves to do this. Oh Allah, please forgive Sister Nadira her sins. Sister Nadira is the mother-in-law of Imam Anas, who recently died and was buried last week. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please forgive Sister Nadira her sins. Make her grave spacious and admit her to the highest ranks of Jannah. Ameen. Oh Allah, make us mindful of our duty to you, Allah, and make us ready and willing to do those acts that bring us closer to you, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, protect the elderly in our community, protect them from harm, and protect them from our disrespect and our neglect, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, protect the oppressed, Ya Allah, protect the oppressed, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, save us from hypocrisy, forgive us our sins, and grant us admission into your Jannah, Ya Allah. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إني أسألك قلبا شاكرا. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وأقيموا الصلاة إن الصلاة لا تنهى عن الفحشاء